were supposed to have the second setting of the preliminary injunction hearing on Tuesday, and we were very well prepped for that. And lo and behold, late on Monday, I got communication from the mediator saying, hey, I'm going to send y'all a proposal. A mediator's proposal is kind of a known entity. There are a couple different ways to do it, but in general, the mediator sends the same proposal to both sides with the following rules. You've got X number of hours to agree to this. Any attempt to modify the terms will be treated as a no, as a hard no on the whole thing. So nobody can make any changes. You got a limited amount of time to do it. And if both parties don't say yes, neither party ever knows what the other one said.
Okay.
Now, there aren't a lot of possibilities. You don't have to be really good at game theory to figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the proposal involved putting off the hearing and letting my guys go back to podcasting. There are other aspects to it that I can't get into yet, although I promise on future episodes we're going to have some discussion. I spent a couple hours on the phone to members of Congress this afternoon. There will be a series of letters from members of Congress concerning this case.
Wow, yeah, that's great.
In the United States.
Yeah.
And he has appointed some of the most effective, hard-charging people to the FTC and to the National Labor Relations Board and its General Counsel's office, which is they're the ones who bring the cases. And the new GC of the NLRB is named Jennifer Abruzzo, and she is not to be messed with, as far as I can tell. And she has advised all of her regional directors, who are the people who report directly to her, that she wants to see cases like Dan and Jake's, that she considers non-competes against employees who do not have an ownership interest in the business to be facially illegal under the National Labor Relations Act, because they chill employees' ability to act concertedly to improve the conditions of their work. Or, in this case, to seek better conditions of work for another employer all day.
Like they literally are paid to talk.
It's just the dumbest thing. And their lawyer tried to tell me that, that these guys were involved in the planning of remotes and the planning of ticket events, and that those plans were confidential. I was like,
Jump Jam.
I'm like, don't you tell people about? Don't you invite them to come? He's like, yeah, no, but before we invite them, they're confidential. I was like,
that's a big insider secret that they're going to be at Pluckers.
Mr. Denning, I'm not having this conversation anymore.
That's an important business secret, that they're going to be at Pluckers for a remote and they'll be handing out can koozies.
Anyway, that lawyer's name is Richard Denning, and he is the GC of Cumulus Media. And if you want to have an aneurysm, you can look up his annual salary, because he's disclosed on the 10K. Let me say he's at least $1 million overpaid.
I am, I'm speechless. That's a quite an interesting take on it. Well, and again, we don't need to get too deep, but the merits of the case, too, are just like, I don't know, they're not going to another radio station. They aren't taking people away from listening to the ticket by just having a podcast, right? People can listen to podcasts.
They are.
Whenever.
You have to listen to their theory. They got a guy who does political polling, who's developed a theory called the share of ear.
Okay.
So the share of ear is that there are only so many hours in a day that you're going to consume audio media.
Okay.
And so, in fact, Dan and Jake are just taking listeners straight away from them. Now, this is not a theory that any court is going to entertain for very long. I don't know. I guess I should feel bad making fun of the Ticket's legal team, but they've been such jerks that I kind of don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an absolutely stupid theory. And yeah, I don't know. The reason we're in this situation where we have Dan and Jake broadcasting again, and we're waiting another couple weeks before we do this hearing, was ostensibly to give us time to try to settle the thing again, and maybe we will. We're going to do another mediation, but I think part of the reason we saw it as potentially a decent agreement for us is we think the NLRB is going to take this thing over,
yeah,
and hand us kind of a big win.
Yeah.